Morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Cool. So, for those that weren't here on Monday, we worked on drishti. So, like looking out into the distance with a specific intention, not necessarily like an emotional or an intellectual intention, but an intention in terms of how we're actually sort of holding and using our eyes. We were looking into the distance, opening our pupils to activate our sympathetic nervous system to create a little bit of adrenaline in our body to sort of hype us up. And this is the key sort of point of drishti. Yogis are leveraging sort of physiological processes to gain control over the autonomic nervous system. So if they want to calm down, they'll do things to calm down. If they want to hype up, they'll do things to hype up. Hatha yogis in general, which is what I sort of prescribe to for whatever reasons, in general like to hype up. And in that, it led to a momentary discussion about like the state you're looking for while you're in meditation. It's a very sort of alert, exaggerated. You're in a state of exaggerated consciousness. So it should feel very simply, if you are sort of commenting on your experience, like, wow, I'm very, very awake right now. I'm like absolutely alert to everything and to sort of nothing at the same time. So as we looked out into whatever we were looking out into, as we worked with our eyes, as we became more sensitive to the drip of adrenaline and the signal of our sympathetic nervous systems, or Pingala Nadi, what came to my mind as I listened back to the class was Maya. And so because Wednesdays are geared towards philosophies, I figured Maya would be an appropriate next step for us to explore. And I'm sure many of you know what Maya is, but I always resort back to the story of the young monk who hears about the moon, and through the journey of his practice, which lasts years and decades, sort of gains greater and greater degrees of truth in regards to the moon being a metaphor for all philosophies and the experience of yoga itself. So even if you know what Maya is, you have some sense of it conceptually, you've not seen Maya for what it fully is. None of us have. And so this story encourages us to keep probing what we think we know, and encourages us to understand that we know very little, right? It's an ever sort of opening and ever expanding process, yoga and these philosophies. And so one really beautiful moment I had in regards to Maya was just sort of sitting down at a park, opening my eyes, relaxing into my peripheral vision, looking at a tree, and all of a sudden seeing not just the tree, but all the trees and all the cars and all the blades of grass like moving and wiggling. It was a particularly windy day. And in that moment, it just became very apparent how alive and impermanent and fluid life was. And if you juxtapose this with the concept of Maya, if you are willing to see it, all of a sudden you can see what the yogis probably perceived, which is all of this is just a dream. All of this is just unfolding endlessly in front of us, like a piece of fabric being pulled at the seams. The interesting point is all of this Maya talk, when you really sort of absorb it, it flips the priority or the hierarchy on its head. And it forces us to understand that we are the center of our universe. Atman is the center of the universe, not what is outside of Atman, not Prakriti, not the world of the elements, self. And so what I thought would be cool today is maybe if you could reposition yourselves. I see a lot of you are in like living room spaces. If you could reposition yourself where you can actually look outside. A living room is also fine, but there's probably less movement. And watch the world move while you think of impermanence, while you sense Atman. And hopefully what might happen is you might sense that you are the center point. And there's nothing more important than that center point. And this affords the yogi this great confidence and this great fortitude and this great sort of invincibility in relationship to that which is always changing. Because they actually have a strong connection to like who they are, what they are, instead of the other way around, being attached to things that are always dissolving. So in our lives, we have these many deaths, and we never really learn to sort of let go of those things that die and actually hold on to the imperishable, which is the soul, if that makes sense. And so Maya, Atman, impermanence and permanence, there's a beautiful mantra, Asato Masatgamaya, yoga, lead me from untruth to truth. Truth is that I am the center, I am the permanent thing. Life, the world, which we think is like has a higher status than the individual, is the unreal thing. Asato Masatgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, lead me from darkness to light. The world, as beautiful and vibrant as it is darkness, not because it innately is darkness, but because I interact with it incorrectly or arrogantly or ignorantly. I hold on to it as if it were going to last, or I use my power to build walls around things to protect them from change, when the thing itself is change, when the thing itself is Maya. And so there's always this falling back into tamas, or sorrow. When the body dies, when other bodies dies, when careers die, when relationships die, when seasons change, tamas. Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya. Lead me from darkness to sort of like wisdom. And then the last is mrityorma amritam gamaya. Lead me from mortality to immortality. So this totally organizes into this conversation of impermanence and permanence. The only permanent thing is Atman. The only permanent thing out in the world is change. And we, for whatever reason, human beings are looking for something permanent if we sort of, speak honestly with ourselves. It's never nice to be stripped away from something we're attached to. And so the solution is either to never attach, which is difficult. You have to live the life of a sadhu. You have to really commit to this concept of meditation and yoga. Or you have to access what is permanent. And what is permanent is Atman. And once you have a relationship with that permanent thing, it doesn't matter what dissolves, for a number of reasons that we can get into another day. So mrityorma amritam gamaya. Yoga, lead me from the impermanent to the permanent, or the mortal to the immortal. Alrighty, so you're going to be outside, maybe you're just looking at the walls. Even if you're looking at static things, you can leverage, the century you live in, and you can look into the wall and be like, I know that wall is changing. I know that wall is made of atoms. I know that wall is decomposing. That wall is more than likely filled with all sorts of animals and creatures, and it's consuming. It's a living environment. So you can leverage that knowledge. But this is Maya. We're looking at Maya. Super cool. Okay, let's do this. So we're going to essentially do the same thing we did on Monday. We're going to work with our drishti, but now we're going to actually contemplate, just to frame like Wednesday sessions and meditation in terms of contemplating. A lot of meditation is, wipe out the thoughts. Contemplation is about divinizing the thoughts. It's not just that the mind is like wrong or bad or arrogant or ignorant. It's just not, it's a tool that isn't used properly. And so if you use your thought power, to think of expansive things, if you use your thought power to like investigate aspects of nature instead of just, considering yourself over and over and over again, the mind becomes this amazing sort of skeleton key that can open doors into, secret pockets of life. And so think, but think well. Just don't think like an animal. What I want, what I don't want, what they want, what they don't want, what I have, what I don't have. Think about the world. Okay, here we go. Happy to see you all. Happy Wednesday. Posture 1, hips tilt forward, wrists on knees, nice tall spine. Eyes are closed. For the first 5 minutes, we're just gonna organize our temple, right? Organize the structure, organize the physicality, because that plays a monstrous role in the conditioning and experiencing of our minds. especially if you've been practicing for a while, I always like to acknowledge the second you assume the posture, the physical posture, the rhythm of the breath, the mind understands like a trained dog. Oh, I'm meditating now. So notice that. You did nothing mentally but straighten your arms physically, straighten your spine, slow down your breath, and then the mind shifts. Appreciate the simplicity of this now because you've been practicing for so long. And so if you lift your chest a little bit more, straighten your spine just a little bit more, imperceptible to the eyes, but you can feel it. Notice again a spike of confidence. Notice, as always, that spike in confidence. So you straightening your spine triggers the sympathetic nervous system, much like drishti, your posturing. Like a dog snarling or a dog lifting the hair on its back to look bigger against an opponent or against a threat. This is exactly how your body understands this. So your posture activates Pingala Nadi, the solar channel. And now there is a little sun inside you. Same with your stillness. Details of the breath. As you inhale, feel the belly swell and then the chest. So the breath in is divided into two steps. The exhale, the chest and belly recede at once. And so you just want to make these transitions from the beginning of the inhale to the end of the inhale, from the beginning of the exhale to the end of the exhale, silky and smooth. It's tactile and aesthetic and artistic. So the sympathetic and parasympathetic sides of the nervous system are in a head-to-head race. But the sympathetic, the stress response, is always a little bit ahead. And so as you breathe in, the sympathetic nervous system gains ground. Its signal is a little bit more powerful. But as you exhale, the parasympathetic signal overrides. And so you can feel that. You breathe in, Pingala Nadi, a solar experience. As you exhale, Ida Nadi, a lunar experience. All interpretations of a sensory experience. Feel the experience. As you breathe in, there's a waking up, there's an acceleration of subtle internal rhythms. And as you exhale, there's a softening, a slowing down, and a heaviness. And so we're going to stay here. Posture, stillness, and the nuances of your breath. The nuances of the inhale, puraka, and the nuances of the exhale, rechaka. And as you observe all of this, observe how you constantly have to reorganize the body to hold your posture. As still as you are, there's more than likely subtle movement. Because your body, your lungs, your nervous system is maya. It is impermanent. And you can do your best to build a wall of permanence around your body, and the yogi certainly tries. But the nature of the body itself is change. And so as you interact with this change, as you observe it, whether you like it or reject it, understand, think, it changes because it is Maya. It is unreal. Your body is evaporating steam. Your body is a sand dune being moved by the wind of change. So you need to say in your head, you need to acknowledge, you need to label, use buddhi, use your intellect. Oh, I just changed my back, I just lengthened. Okay, that's Maya. My inhale feels different than my exhale. That's Maya. My toe just wiggled. Maya. It's all fluid. About 5 minutes here. So contemplative meditation is goal-oriented. The effort is in understanding a concept. In that, do not look for the quiet peace that you might usually associate with your practice. Do not look for the euphoria of that inner space. Think. Reassociate new ideas to familiar experiences. Every bit of change which sparks a reaction and a chain of judgment in your mind is Maya. It's not about the sensation or the reaction. It's just about the fact that things are changing. Things are dynamic. And as much as you try to stay still in your practice, or protect things out in life, the thing itself is Maya. The thing itself's true nature is change. So now drishti. The analogy we used on Monday was a tiger looking through the grass, pupils opening to see clearly the deer 50 yards away. With an inhale, open your eyes and look like that out into the space in front of you. with a certain intensity. No blinking, open the eyes. And immediately boogie your intellect labels, walls, the familiar space, the tree I know, the sky I know. But see past those forms, those colors, those shapes. Try to observe everything moving. If nothing's moving, understand everything is moving. Even your wall, even the glass window, it's all moving. Now relax your peripheral vision and include the blurriness of your peripheral vision into your sight, into what you see. And just think Maya. The nature of this landscape is change, and therefore it will never last, and therefore it is not true. Useless to hold. Useless to capture. Keep watching. All you're observing is change, movement. And you're thinking about change. You're thinking about how the tree was a seed. You're thinking about how the cloud will evaporate and then reform. You're thinking about how the wall was once never there and built. You're observing your mind and the shifting of perceptions and thoughts. All of it, Maya. The electric river of prana, energy, moving through its myriad forms in front of you. Marvel at that secret vision, but behold it with drishti. Now, as stoic as this is, just relax the eyes slightly, make it a bit more casual. You're just looking at the space in front of you, but the vision is filtered through the thought of change. Feel free to repeat a very simple phrase that encapsulates Maya: nothing lasts. What you see will not last, and what you feel but cannot see, your body, will not last. This moment will not last. The thoughts associated to this moment will not last. So you're casually looking out, repeating this phrase. Maybe it hits. Okay, now close your eyes. So the eyes shut, you take this step towards the internal. Asato ma sadgamaya. Lead me from untruth to truth. Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya. Lead me from darkness to light. Mrityorma amritam gamaya. Lead me from mortality to immortality. The North Star is Atman. That which is aware of Maya is outside of Maya. Sense your awareness. Sense your essence. Rasa. That will never change. That essence, that consciousness is untouched by the elements. It is not burnt or warmed by the sun. It is not wet by the rain. It is not dirtied by the earth. It is not moved by the wind. It's not afflicted with pain. It's just aware of pain. It's not motivated by happiness. It's just aware of happiness. The yogis say, when we die, it's the impermanent world that dies, including our bodies, including our identities. The Atman remains. Slow down the breath. For the next few minutes, just stay with Atman. Stay with your awareness. Let everything else be. Hands to heart center. So this is a sacred experience. No one can give you the experience of Atman. No one can look into yourself except for you. No one can open these doors. So you just want to acknowledge that. And then acknowledge the dynamics of the world through the lens of yogic philosophy. It is a hurricane of transformation, and that is beautiful. Every poet knows the beauty of loss. Every artist knows the beauty of loss. And in that, so do we. But there is a deeper beauty in that which is beyond loss or gain. And that is a special thing. And so here you are accessing it in some capacity. Even just thinking about it is access. This awareness is home. This awareness is the ashram. This awareness is the temple. This awareness is the mountain summit. This awareness is heaven. It is the eye of the storm. Thumb knuckles to third eye center. Sense the awareness. Even the word Atman is not Atman. Your awareness beholds the word associated to it. Just notice that you are aware. Be aware of your awareness. That little sentence really helps isolate the experience. Wrist back to knees. Hold on to this little experience. And like the eye of the storm, feel the whole of the world spiraling through change around you, including our little blue planet, hurtling through space around our sun, including our little galaxy, hurtling through space. Centeredness. Now with the breath in, open your eyes. Use your drishti. Stare like a tiger. Eyes open. Om Mahamaya Shanti. Om Mahamaya Shanti. Peace within the great dream. Stability within this great illusion of change. Blink your eyes. Wash your trance away.